What's going on, people? It's Monday, the 25th of November, 2024. It is 2:30 p.m. here in Germany. This is the Insanity Report for today. And over the weekend, I heard some more completely insane stories. So the trannies are on the rise in police work, it looks like, because here in Germany, a trans cop, and I'm not going to call him a him or it a girl or whatever. I'm not going to try to fuck my brain up trying to figure out what the hell's going on in non-reality land. So the fact is, it's a trans cop, right? Which means it's a guy pretending to be a woman who's a cop here in Germany. He went to a club, and two colleagues that were also cops met him there at that club. They all got along pretty well. It was floated around to maybe go back to his house and party a little bit, maybe a little bit of drugs and a little bit of sex. And the two cops that fell for this, the two guys who are real guys, they thought this was a woman, and they went back home with the guy, and the guy drugged them and anally raped them. Isn't that fantastic? So that's your trans shit. This is the kind of shit that, if I remember correctly, and I know I do because I hear it still now, that the activist crowd and the people, the trans activists, and these people that love this kind of shit, that loves this insanity, they always say, well, that's never going to happen. Why are you always make it sound like trans people are all racist or rapists, or pedophiles, or that's not going to happen. There's not going to be men trying to get into women's fucking sports to compete against women. There's not going to be men going into women's changing rooms and spas and saunas just because they want to and pretending to be trans to do it. Really? There's not going to be male rapists that will want to get sent to a female prison, and actually it works for them. They actually do get sent to a female prison where they go to impregnate women inside the jail, willingly or unwillingly, doesn't matter. That's not going to happen. I hear that shit all the time, but it's happening all the time. So cops. So now here in Germany, there's a trans cop that raped two of his colleagues, right? He drugged them and raped them at his house, right? And the papers, like the corporate media here, is still calling this man a woman when they make when they do the reporting of this incident. So they call it a policewoman. They call him she instead of he, and he's a rapist who raped two other police officers in his house after he drugged them against their will, people. And we're still going to play this "we got to be respectful" game. These people are fucking crazy, right? Crazy. Absolutely insane. And I'm telling you, if the citizens of the countries where this shit is happening, right? America, here in Europe, in certain countries it's happening. If the citizens don't start getting their act together and voting for people who do not stand for this shit, who will not put up with it, then this kind of shit is going to get even worse. It's going to get so bad that it's going to be like England, right? So in England, in the UK, now, last week, I think it was decided that trans cops are going to be allowed to strip search women prisoners. No shit, right? And I'm laughing because it's so absurd. The shit is so insane. And everybody with even a little bit of a brain sees that and knows it's unacceptable. But a lot of those people are still going to vote for politicians and leaders, for people to be in power that support exactly this madness, right? And it's actually not the kind of issue that you go, well, they're doing so many other things right, I can live with this. No. This is like the single voter issue type thing that people should be for. Like, no matter what they do for the economy, allowing little kids to get castrated by fucking doctors who are actually just fucking sick butchers, to go along with this trans shit, to allow women to play in men's sports and allow men to play in women's sports, and to allow rapists to go to female prisons, and to allow male police officers dressed as women who don't look like women. They look like ugly trannies. They look like the fucking put the lotion in the basket guy. You know what I mean? They look, and then to allow them and defend them and protect them, to be able to allow them to strip search female prisoners. This is absolutely unacceptable for any regular society, right? Anywhere in the East, if in Poland or Russia or China or Africa or anywhere else on the planet that's not Western, they tried to do this kind of shit, there would be so much outrage from their citizens that there would be people with pitchforks at the gates, people. But in the West, they allow themselves to do these crazy things because they know that the Western citizens are docile and they're just going to put up with absolutely everything as long as they have Netflix, and they don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? They don't care, and so they're just going to do whatever they want because the Western citizens are going to put up with it all. And as a matter of fact, they're not only going to put up with it, they're going to play along. Because you got all these people running around. Well, you gotta call him or her, and you can't say he, and you can't say that, and you can't say this, you can't say retard, you can't do this. This woke shit is coming to an end, one way or another. Right? One way or another. Either there's going to be people elected in power that are going to put a stop to it, or people are going to get angry enough that there's going to be violence, and they're going to put a stop to it. Right? One or the other. And there's going to be more and more incidents like this tranny cop raping two dudes, and the tranny cops being allowed to fucking strip search women in female prisons in the UK. That's going to rub somebody the wrong fucking way. There is going to be a violent backlash to this kind of shit. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And why I can guarantee it is because if I ever get put in this situation where my wife gets strip searched by a guy just because they're a girl and they're a cop, so they have the authority, bad shit's gonna happen for everyone, right? Bad shit's gonna happen to me, right? For sure, but that's okay then, because no matter what, I will not, under any circumstance, put up with any of this crazy nonsense. None. And I have no problem with real trans people, right? But I'll probably never meet one because the amount of real trans people there are on the planet is so small that I probably will never run into one, right? So I guess I can consider myself lucky that but no, I guess not lucky, because the trans activist people, the people pretending to be women, I'll probably run into them. You know what I mean? And if they ever end up in the same bathroom as my wife, or if they ever end up in the same locker room as, like, my friend's daughters or shit like that, shit's gonna hit the fucking fan. Right? And people can say all they want, well, but you're not gonna do anything because, then you're gonna ruin your own life. It's gonna be jail. Well, then there's jail. You know what I'm saying? If that's where it drives me to, that's the one thing that I've always said that I'm most afraid of. The thing I'm most afraid of is that these insane, woke people are going to one day put me in a position where there is no good outcome for me, right? They're going to put me in a position that that's going to be unacceptable. Unacceptable to the point that I will do anything to not be in that position. And if that's what they want to do, I'm not the only person that thinks like this, people. You know what I mean? I'm not the only person that thinks. There's a lot of people think like this. And look, you know what I hope that happens in England? I hope, because I know there's a lot of people in England and in Europe and in America, they're cheering for this. Like, oh my God, look, trans rights, now they get to strip search women. Oh my God, that's so good. It's so progressive. It's so good. You know, yeah, that's great. Now, I just hope that one day, one of their female loved ones, wife, sister, daughter, mother, whoever, aunt, uncle, whatever, girlfriend, I hope that one day they get falsely arrested. They get arrested for something they just didn't do, right? And then they get hauled into jail where they get molested by a tranny who says he's a woman and is wearing a cop uniform. And then all of a sudden the shit's going to change a little bit, right? I hope that one of these people, because their excuse is going to be, well, look, first of all, these are prisoners. They don't really have any rights. Why would we care about women's rights when they're criminals, right? That's what they think. Yeah, but they neglect to understand that people also sometimes get falsely arrested, or they end up at a protest where shit gets out of hand and then they get taken away with the rest of the crowd. And then they have to subject themselves to a groping and fondling and molestation by some tranny in a cop's outfit. That's not acceptable, people. Right? That is not acceptable. And so what's happened here in Germany is also not acceptable. Now we'll see what happens. The 2 cops that got raped in the ass by a fag fucking tranny colleague, right? They pressed charges. So now we're going to see if this guy's going to get a lot of jail time or not. Obviously, he's been fired from the police department because they couldn't keep this shit under wraps, right? Because the cops pressed charges. So the media got wind of it. That's not acceptable. This guy should go to jail for a long time, right? We'll see if he does. Once I find out, if I find out, I'll let you guys know. But what's happening in the UK is even more egregious, right? Because what these people in power are saying is, listen, women, listen. Whether you get arrested for something you're guilty of or not, once you get in the jailhouse, we are going to subject you to fondling and molestation by a tranny in a cop's outfit. And you have no rights to defend yourself against it, no matter what your situation. If you're a victim of rape, if you're a victim of incest, if you're, a victim of assault and you don't feel comfortable with that, there is nothing you can do. And if you try physically to stop it, there'll be more charges put on you. Because that's what's going to happen. If I was a woman and some burly tranny in a cop's outfit tried to fucking put his hands down my pants or whatever the fuck, because he has the legal right to do so, I would try to fight that off. Well, what happens if you hit a cop? More charges. So now, even if you weren't guilty, now you're guilty of something else that's going to probably catch you more time than what it is that you were not guilty of, why you got brought into the jailhouse to begin with. That's the position these woke, crazy politician ideologues are putting people in. They are pushing and pushing and pushing it to the point where there will be no other option except a violent, horrific backlash to this shit. That's why what my advice is to people is to start speaking out against this harshly. Notice I call them trannies. Notice I call it molestation and groping. The reason why is because that's what it is. No sugarcoating shit in this case. And that's what everybody needs to do. The politicians and the woke idiots need to understand that the people who like reason, reality, logic, and critical thinking will not put up with any more of this shit. It is going to have to be stomped out. They are going to get a chance from the people to retreat. And if they keep advancing, they're going to have a violent fucking fight on their hands. That's, just look at human history. You know what I mean? You just look at it. You cannot cram any ideology down on people that don't want to be part of the ideology. That counts for Christianity, that counts for Catholicism, that counts for Islam, that counts for Scientology, that counts for all cult ideologies. And all of them are. It's all cult ideology. Cult ideology should not be running anything in power, anything in government that governs a group of people that are largely not part of the ideology. Most people are not part of the trans ideology. Most people are not part of the woke ideology. And it's time that the majority of people, which is people like me, stop accepting this woke shit and start pushing back on it aggressively. And when I say aggressively, I do not mean punch the first tranny you see. I mean vocally express your disdain for the way this is going. Do not accept this shit at your school for your kids. Do not accept it when teachers try to cram one of these ideologies down on your children. Do not accept it if your daughter ends up in a locker room with a guy. What needs to happen is the politicians need to see that the majority of the people in the countries where this is happening are not okay with this. Because otherwise, tranny cops dressed as fucking dominatrixes in cops' outfits that look like the fucking put the lotion in the basket guy are going to be strip-searching your daughters, your wives, your sisters, your mothers. Whether you like it or not. That's where this is going. As it is going in England. You know, so I love it that, you know, people in England, I watch a lot of podcasts that come out of England, and they've been talking about, well, the Tavistock clinic has been closed, so we're pulling back on this stuff. Yeah, maybe on the kids, right? They might be pulling back on transing kids in Europe and in England. I wouldn't say all of Europe, because here in Germany, they're still about it, right? That's what they want to do. They want to start getting into the transing kids movement, just like America has done. But no, they're going full speed ahead with the rest of the ideology. They're backing off on the kids because it got enough of a backlash, which comes to my point again. When they see enough of a backlash, they will stop advocating for this madness. Right? And once the street activists are no longer politically protected, they will shut up. Because they are, at heart, cowardly people. They're cowardly people that know that when they're protected by government officials and government policy, that they can basically do whatever they want, and that's when they do it. But when they have to answer for their bullshit to somebody else, they're not going to do it. That's why we haven't seen any real big protest movement in the States ever since Donald Trump got elected. The reason why is those people know what happened to the January 6th people unfairly, and they fear that Donald Trump will put their ass in fucking jail. And they should. And that's why all of a sudden they're not that brave anymore. When there's no funds to get them, bail them out of jail. When there's no, GoFundMes to get them out when they commit crimes. Yeah, they did that when Kamala Harris was bailing them out, but they know that Trump's administration and the people that are going to be largely in power when Trump gets in are not going to play that shit. They just won't. That's why they're not out. That's why Europe is pulling back on the trans and kid shit. That's why once Trump gets in, America's going to pull back on the trans and the kid shit. But it's not that it's trans and the kids, it's this kind of shit. You know, male cops raping other male cops, pretending he's a woman, and then drugging them. And then male cops dressed as women, frisking and fucking strip searching women. It's madness. Complete madness. I think this show is going to be called The Insanity Report for quite a while. Really. It's utter craziness. And I think that the election of Donald Trump signals the beginning of the end. They're not going to go out without a fight. But what the election of Donald Trump has signaled to every woke fucking trans craziness out there, the people out there that believe in all this bullshit, right? Trump's election signaled to you people, your time is at an end, right? The majority of people are not on board with the woke tranny shit, period. It's over. And of course they're going to fight and fight up to a certain point until there's risk involved. And then they will all tuck tail and fuck off and we'll finally be rid of this madness. But it's going to take regular people to stand up against it also. You know what I mean? When you see bullshit, call it out. When you hear about a neighbor or a friend talking about my trans kids, oh my God, you call them out. Doesn't matter if they're your friends. They're not. How can they be your friends if they're abusing their children? Crazy. Call them out. Call it out everywhere. You know? Really. Nobody's going to care that you know, I'm saying nobody's going to think you're a transphobe except for those people. That's their word. That's their word to shut you up. Ooh, transphobe. Oh, well, fucking so what? Then I'm a transphobe. Whatever. If you ever come in this bathroom again, I will knock out your teeth. How's that? Then we'll see who's phobe of who. Because this is madness, right? It's crazy. And I think everybody knows it. Guys, if you want to get the Insanity Report, the rants, the what is your congressperson voting for episodes, or any of the articles I write, then all you got to do is go to the Substack, subscribe to the Substack. It's allaboutlogic.substack.com. Go there, subscribe for free or paid. Either one. Paid is $5 a month. I'd appreciate it greatly. But either way, you will get all the content delivered directly into your inbox. Instead of waiting for a notification that may never come, or waiting on me to post it somewhere on social media, then you'll get it directly in your inbox. You can decide what you want to watch and what you want to listen to or read. That's just the easiest way for me to get a hold of you, and for you to get a hold of me is to go through the Substack links, which are down below. You can subscribe there. If you're watching this somewhere else, follow me there if you want. All good. But the best thing to do would still be to go to It's All About Logic, all one word, .substack.com, and subscribe there. Also, if this video contains any links, they will only be available on Substack. I cannot post links anywhere else. TikTok won't do it. Rumble doesn't do it right. YouTube, I think there might be a way to do it, but I'm not really big on YouTube. And on Substack, I can post the link so you can click on them directly to lead you to other things that I point you to. Anyway, guys, that was the Insanity Report for Monday, the 25th of November. Have a great afternoon. Have a great morning, wherever you're at. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.